That if you're saying I can't hear you, then you're saying the right things. I did start a little bit early. So that whole rant that I just went through, there was absolutely no sound. Please forgive me. um, we are doing our home buyers workshop this Saturday at Low Richland High School, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Try to get registered for that. I apologize for that technical difficulty. I did take a glance and noticed I didn't see any sound bars. So I did do that whole spiel with no sound. Can you believe it? This is the weekly home workshop. We're normally on every Wednesday at 12:15 during your lunch break. We're on at 6 today. We had some scheduling conflicts, so I said, let me just do a 6 o'clock episode. We are on episode number 11. Today, we're talking about new construction versus resale, which is right for you. And again, these aren't super deep topics. I'm not going to rehash everything that I did. The sound is on, and I'm ready to rock and roll now. But I did just want to let you know, join us between 12:15 and 12:30 every Wednesday. It's just a quick lunch break. We dive into a couple of topics that can be helpful to you, whether you're in the home buying or selling process. There is a catalog. Again, this is episode 11. So our previous episodes, you can find those on our YouTube channel. Go to the playlist, look for the weekly home workshop, and you'll see our past episodes. But I do believe this is information that you can use to help you in your real estate journey. But we're going to go ahead and jump into today's topic, especially since I just talked for like maybe 5 minutes with no sound. So it's time to get it moving. So first of all, we're talking about new construction versus resale. Why does this decision matter? Okay, many buyers face this this exact same question: should I buy a brand new home or should I buy an existing resale home? Both options have advantages, and just like most real estate, there is no one size fits all. Okay, the best choice isn't about what's better, right? It's not about is new construction better than a resale, because honestly, you can find both examples. You can find a resale that's better than anything that's being built new right now, and you can find some new ones that are built better than stuff that was constructed years ago. So it's about what fits your lifestyle, your timeline, and your goals. And by goals, we mean budget. A lot of times our wallets and our pocketbooks can answer when our hearts try to. You're going to have to do things according to what you've budgeted and what kind of goals you set for yourself. So that's the main reason this decision matters, okay? It's because there is no one size fits all. Should you buy brand new or should you buy resale? We look at the benefits of both. I know whenever I'm setting up listing alerts, in other words, when I'm letting my clients know what stuff has hit the market, if I'm doing, sometimes people want new construction, sometimes they don't. There are homes that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, relatively new, that would really almost count as new construction. Sometimes they're still under those warranties. So it just depends. So it doesn't have to be brand spanking new, but let's look at some of the benefits for new construction. Number one, you can think about they have brand new systems and appliances. So the heating and air is brand new, your roof system is new, appliances, your fridge, um, stove, all those things. If they include washer and dryer, just depends on what kind of package you get with the home that you purchase. So, generally speaking, there's fewer immediate repairs when it comes to new construction. Why do I say fewer? Because occasionally, when you do your final walkthrough, there's a process that you'll go through, and there may be some repairs that are needed, or there may be some things that need to be addressed by the builder prior to you moving in. Oftentimes, a lot of these builders offer warranties. So there are builder warranties that'll come with new construction, and you can take advantage of some of those warranties. Uh, Another benefit of new construction is you have more modern layouts and finishes, right? Sometimes you can get into homes where there's dated countertops or carpet or whatever the case might be, but a lot of the layouts and finishes are more modern with new construction. Certainly, the open floor plans exist now. As far as finishes, they've got all kinds of. They still got the hardwoods, the tiles. They got the luxury vinyl planks. They got all kinds of things as far as fits and finishes for the interior as well as the exterior. Another benefit of new construction is a lot of times the newer homes are a little more energy efficient, whether that's the windows, the construction material. Sometimes they'll wrap these homes, they make sure they're airtight. Um, and so you get a lot more energy bang for your buck than with a resale sometimes. But remember, one of the setbacks is sometimes there's longer timelines if you're building. So if you're looking to move within the next 30 to 45 days, unless you find a home that's at the end of its new construction phase, you may have to wait a good little while for that home to be ready for move in. Also, with new construction, there is a potential for higher upfront costs. So there may be a little more out of pocket upfront. And in most cases, again, one of the purposes you want a real estate agent is to negotiate on your behalf. With new construction, there is limited negotiation in those cases, in some cases. But if you, again, work with a seasoned agent, they do know what to negotiate on, right? There are some negotiations that can happen. One of the other things, though, with new construction, especially depends on if you're going with like a neighborhood and where they have the floor plans already laid out that's going to go into a particular neighborhood. You're just picking a floor plan in those cases. If you're doing a custom built home and new construction, that gives you customization, right? Also convenience. But again, there's not quite as much flexibility in the pricing when you go into new construction. What are some of the benefits of a resale? Okay. Usually, when you're in a resale situation, you get to move into a more established neighborhood, right? With new construction, depending on what phase you get in, you could be moving into especially if you're in the first phase, you could be moving into a neighborhood where there are trucks in and out pretty much all times of day. You're going to deal with workers when they get there. They could get there early and start working. They could be there till later in the evening. You got more mature landscaping in a resale. You got more established grass and trees, and the look and feel is very much more polished in established resale neighborhoods in most cases. With a resale, you could have a lower purchase price that you're working with versus new construction. So, with a lower purchase price and with it being a resale, that also introduces the ability and more room for negotiation. Um, again, it depends on how old the home is, right? If it's a newer home, some of that room may not be there because sometimes when the seller is getting out of that situation, they may not have any room to work with. They may not have any equity built up in the home yet. So their room for negotiation may not be there depending on how much older it is. But with resale, generally speaking, unless there's some kind of special provision that's being made, there's faster move in timelines. So, again, depending on your loan type, um, the move in times can be anywhere from 30 to 45 days, is generally the time frame. Sometimes it can be shorter, sometimes it can be a little bit longer. Now, some of the drawbacks with resale, of course, all you have to do is take the benefits of some of the new construction and turn those into some of the drawbacks when you're doing a resale. With resale, sometimes you're going to have older systems that may need updates. Could be an older roof, older heating and air unit, older appliances. Um, Again, older everything. Just depends on how much older you're going. And there's going to be some maintenance in a lot of these cases because sometimes, um, depending on what age it is or how old the property is, some of those systems might still be operating perfectly well, but they just need some maintenance. And so there may be more maintenance in some cases when you're going into a resale. So resale homes do offer flexibility, but again, they may require just a little bit more planning depending on how old the property is. So that those are some of the benefits of resale. So now the ultimate question becomes, well, how do I decide? You've given me the benefits, and honestly, that's all these conversations are designed to do. To give you the information that you need to make wise decisions, right? We're not here to decide for you, and we're not here to change your mind necessarily about a decision that you've already made, although we may. And, sometimes people are stuck on new construction, but, there are homes out there that are 1 or 2 years old, which is pretty much, I would say anything from 1 to 5 years old is basically new construction. Some may vary, but those are some of the things that you can look at. But first of all, how do you decide? Number one, timeline. Do you need to move quickly? That's one of the questions you want to ask yourself. Um, then budget. Think about it. One of the things we didn't quite mention, and I will mention it here. Uh, if you negotiate good on a resale, technically you can go in with some equity because once the home is appraised, again, if you're getting a loan for it, it could appraise for higher than what you pay for it, which is a good situation, which means you go into that situation with equity. Um, but how to decide resale or new construction? Your budget. Okay, so and then are you prioritizing? What's your priority? Upgrades or value? Okay. And remember, a lot of times our pocketbooks and our wallets will speak louder than anything, right? That's going to dictate what you can do. What's your maintenance tolerance? Some people realize, you know what, I don't mind having to go in and make a few corrections or, maintaining a few systems. This is really what I'm looking for. Oftentimes, there may be location preferences. Again, these are things that you can consider when you're trying to decide. And certainly, there's resale and new construction in all parts of the city and the surrounding areas. But certainly, there are certain areas that are more poised for growth and new construction than others. Um, so, are you looking for move-in ready and brand new, or value, location, and flexibility? Those are some of the questions you have to ask yourself. But ultimately, remember, the right home is the one that fits your life, not just what looks best online. Okay. So those are some of the things that you want to make sure you go into this decision, um, considering these points that we've just made. Um, so finally, here's a few quick takeaways. In case you don't know, again, if this is your first time with the weekly home workshop, these are only 15-minute segments, so we're not going to be here very long. I'm getting ready to wrap things up for you right now. Both new construction and resale homes have advantages. Again, decision based on your lifestyle and your priorities. There is no wrong choice. I'll say that one more time. There is no wrong choice. But what's the choice that's right for you? What's your fit? If you're trying to decide between that, we'd be happy to help. We can help you weigh those options based on your specific situation. Remember, if this was helpful, don't keep this to yourself. Share it with someone who can use it. And that's the other thing. Sometimes we'll get things and it's like, well, I already knew that. But everybody doesn't know what you know. Help somebody understand that this is being provided as a service. They can come on and get this quick, like I said, 15-minute segment. Certainly you can add comments if you'd like, add questions in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. But if you got value out of this, share it with a friend. Remember, whether you're buying, selling, or just planning ahead, once you're a client, you're always a friend here at Tailored Realty. And our motto is don't make a move without us. This was a special segment at 6 o'clock today, but we'll see you next Wednesday, 12:15 for the weekly home workshop. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care. Have a good one.